Welcome to the FMC Lounge, everyone. I'm your host, Joe for Show, and in this video, we will be going over my updated Serena guide. I'll be talking about the external component cores, mutant cells, arcade tuning, what build I'm using, and the weapons. If y'all can do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. It would really help with the YouTube algorithm. I would appreciate it a lot. Now, enough of the yapping. Let's jump straight into the video. So the first build we'll be going over is my Purge Build, and this Purge Build is mainly for solo playing. I will have a different Purge build for group play, but first, here are the mods. Go ahead, get your screenshots. If you don't know how this build works, we will be using our forfeit ability to clear out all the rooms, and the way we're going to be doing that is running 2 duration mods, 1 range mod, MP collector, multi-talented, maximize conversion, 2 cooldown mods, and then 2 HP mods. We're running a skill cost mod because we will be trying to stay airborne the whole time, and because of that, we're going to be losing. Our MP is going to go lower, so we're going to counter that with the skill cost. And we're using multi-talented to help get our cooldown lower than what you see. As you see, it says 41 seconds and our duration 24. We're going to have that cooldown much lower than 24 seconds, so we will have 100% uptime. We run 2 HP mods because our fourth ability does more damage based on our HP. So this is very important, so make sure you pay attention when you use multi-talented. The dimension archetype skills that you use gives you the cooldown. What do we usually do when we're on Serena? We activate our second ability first, right? But if you notice, this is a singular archetype. You want to make sure you use your fourth ability first and then your second ability, because if not, you're not going to get that low cooldown. So it's going to look like this if you do it correctly. Use your fourth. If you notice, I have 18-second cooldown, and then I'm going to activate my float. If you do it the other way, using your second ability first and then your fourth ability, look at the cooldown. It's at 41 seconds. When multi-talented activated, it did the singular active skill buff, and that lasts for 5 seconds. You would have to wait 5 seconds and then use your fourth ability. So to counter this, we're just going to start with our fourth ability first and then use our second ability. For our reactor, it doesn't matter what element, the weapon mounting, and all that. All that matters is 2 stats at the bottom. There's 3 different ones you can go for. There's not one that's better than the rest. So you choose whatever you can get one first. So we all know Reactor Farm is not really that fun. You're looking for 3 stats, either skill cost, skill duration up, or skill cooldown. If you get 2 out of any of those 3, those are the reactor that you want to use. The reason why I say these stats are not important, even without not having cooldown, I still have 100% uptime, which I could show you right now. So my duration is at 24 seconds, right? My cooldown is 41, right? When I pop my fourth ability, you notice my cooldown is 18 seconds and we had 24 seconds duration uptime. You don't need still cooldown on your reactor. For our external component cores, we are rocking the 4-piece Ascending Armory for a little bit more skill cost. Also, for that 4th set, when we are in the air and we do hit our 3rd ability to reload our weapons, we are going to get some ammo back. And this set also is, if you notice, it's all base HP, so this will give us as much HP as possible. For our external component cores, we're rocking HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense. We'll mainly be using the Albert Cavalry gun to clear all the room, clear all the ads. So here are the cores and the substats. Here are the mods. And then for the boss that spawns, we use the last dagger. Here are the cores and substats. And then here are the mods. For our inversion reinforcement, these are the musts. You want the strike point because it's going to give us more multi-hit damage, and this is going to give us more multi-hit chance. And then we rock in the chill focus round because, you know, Legion of Darkness wave 10 are weak to chill. For our arcade tuning, this is the skill tree route I went because we're all into multi-hit. You want to go down this route over here and get all these multi-hit slots that you can. I wake my way up to get a little bit more firearm attack damage, some ammo, and mainly this defense neutralization. When we hit the boss with our first ability, he's going to lose 30% chill resistance and 50% defense, which is going to allow our weapons just to do more damage. Now here's a quick little gameplay of how this build works. Our next build is going to be another Purge build, and this one mainly for when you're playing with other people, either randoms or hopefully with your teammates and friends. But here are the mods. Go ahead and get your screenshot. So it's basically the same as last build. Nothing changes at all. The only thing with this build is what's going to be different is the weapon of choice we're using and our component cores, which I'll show you right now. So this is very important, so make sure you pay attention when you use multi-talented. The dimension archetype skills that you use gives you the cooldown. What do we usually do when we're on Serena? We activate our second ability first, right? But if you notice, this is a singular archetype. You want to make sure you use your fourth ability first and then your second ability, because if not, you're not going to get that low cooldown. So it's going to look like this if you do it correctly. Use your fourth. If you notice, I have 18-second cooldown, and then I'm going to activate my float. If you do it the other way, using your second ability first and then your fourth ability, look at the cooldown. It's at 41 seconds. When multi-talented activated, it did the singular active skill buff, and that lasts for 5 seconds. You would have to wait 5 seconds and then use your fourth ability. So to counter this, we're just going to start with our fourth ability first and then use our second ability. So for our reactor, we're still rocking the same one that I showed last time. Doesn't matter the element or the mounting, just make sure for your stats at the bottom you either have skill cost, skill duration up, or skill cooldown, whatever one you could get first. For our external component cores, these two are a must. The shell crusher, you run it 2 set for the extra 5% fire rate, and for these last 2 slots, it's up to you what you want to run. You could run these two for the 2 set skill cost, a little bit more HP. You could also take them off for the 2 set firebrand, which will give you more range and duration. For me personally, I just want as much skill cost as possible so my MP could go down slowly, since we're going to be in the air a lot all the time, and our mana is going to be draining from that. And then the weapon of choice is going to be the Restore Relic. The reason why I choose this one for playing with other people, not solo. When you're solo, you don't have a lot of heavy ammo, so your ammo could run out pretty quick. While if you're playing with other people and there's Enzo on your team, you will never run out of ammo. So this is why I recommend this build for playing with other people, and the last Purge build if you're playing solo. But here are the cores and the substats, and then here are the mods. And then our last dagger is what we'll be using for when the boss spawns. Here are the cores and substats. And then here are the mods. Our version reinforcement, same as before. Aerial maneuvering for that multi-hit chance when we're in the air when we reload. A strike point amplification, so our multi-hit can do a little bit more damage. And then chill focus round, because wave 10 Legion of Darkness enemies are weak to chill. And then for our arcade tuning, this is the route we went with, same as before, because we're using a multi-hit weapon. We want all this multi-hit slots right here. You know, the enhanced firearm and still the defense neutralization. Now here's a quick little gameplay showing you how this build works. And as you can see, I'm slowly shooting the gun because I'm solo. I don't have constant ammo, so I can't just spam it as I would like if I had an Enzo on my team giving me ammo. That's why you see me slow playing it, and why I recommend other builds for solo. But if I had an Enzo on my team, just imagine me spamming it and it would just be going crazy. So for our next build, this is going to be our mobbing build that we use for, 400% dungeon, Sigma, and other activities in the future. Now, before we go over the mods and everything, our previous void build, our second purge build, you actually could still use this same build for mobbing, but if you don't have a restore relic and some of these component cores, then I recommend using this build instead, and it's going to be based off of divine surge. If you don't know what this mod does, it completely changes our fourth ability, where it's going to be doing skill damage instead of buffing our weapon damage. Here are the mods. Go ahead, get your screenshots. So the fourth ability, it can change it to a slam attack, an AoE attack, and if you notice, that glow on the floor is a damage over time, so if enemies are standing in it, they will be taking damage from that as well. And also, this got changed to a singular archetype, not a dimensional archetype like it used to. This Transcendent mod does change the archetype, and so because of that, we're rocking singular mods, 2 fire mods. This is gonna be all of our damage. Rocking these little extra cooldown instead of the blue mods, which will give us more damage but we'll lose cooldown. We want as much cooldown possible. And these other 2 cooldown mods, and with all that cooldown, we will have a 4-second cooldown, which will allow us to spam our ability much more often. 1 range mod, 1 HP, and decimator, so we could do more damage. For this last mod slot, put whatever you think that will help make the build better. I haven't came across anything like that. I forgot what I used to run here. I haven't used this build in a few months. You could put MP collector if you feel like mana is an issue, but I haven't decided on anything. But as of right now, I'm not sure what to put here. Now for our reactor, we're using fire singular reactor, and our 2 stats at the bottom. I want skill cooldown so I can spam my fourth ability more, and a limit range just so I can have a little bigger radius of when I land and use my abilities on enemies. For our component cores, we're rocking a 4-piece Slayer set just for that 26% extra skill power. And for our external component cores, it's HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense. Weapon of choice, we only need a last dagger. We only use this if our fourth ability is not hitting the boss hard enough. Here are the cores and substats, and then here are the mods. You would change this element to whatever the enemy is weak to. For For our inversion reinforcement, we're running adrenaline rush for movement speed, secondary stimulation so we get some MP back just in case it's an issue. If it's not an issue, you can take this off from biodensity for more HP. And for our last one, we're using arche circulation tactic to help with skill cooldown. For our arche tuning, this is the true route we went with. I wanted as much skill power as I could get, so I went with the enhanced skill power. I went with the enhanced skill cooldown to help us spam our fourth ability more. And I went with the fire cohesion. When we defeat an enemy with our skill, we're going to do a little bit more damage. And then the last few slots, I just put into a little bit of HP and a little bit of MP recovery to help. Now for our last build, it's going to be our bossing build. With this build, you can use it for any boss in the game, even with Ice Maiden. Thinking of Ice Maiden, you would have changed a little few things, but I'm not going to be covering that because Ice Maiden is literally going away on August 7th. So just keep that in mind. Whenever the new boss comes and we test Serena out on that boss, I'll make a video about that. But for now, here are the mods. Go ahead and get your screenshots. We're not running any Transcendent mod. It's not needed. And so for the other mod, if you don't know how this build works, all you're going to do is use your fourth ability, give yourself more weapon damage, and you just delete the boss. So for our mods, we're running shot focus. We do more firearm attack, a shield mod, walker type rope, conditional recharge, increase shield, weighing the scales for more shield, time distribution for more HP, increase HP and HP amplification, and then overwhelming HP. When we use overwhelming HP, the more shield I have, the more HP we're going to have, which is why we're running 3 shield mods. And we're using walker type rope, but we're going to do more damage when our HP is 50% or lower. And we're using conditional recharge because we're going to spam our abilities so we can lose HP, so we could trigger that walker type rope. For a reactor, it doesn't matter what it is, the element, the weapon mount, the skill power boost ratio, the stats at the bottom, none of that matter. The reason why, all the bosses are going to die within like 3 seconds or less. In the future, and when you get new bosses that are not dying like that, then a reactor will matter, but I'll make a separate video for that. But for now, it's not needed. It's not important at all. For our component cores, we are rocking the Centering Army just so I can get as much HP as possible, since this base stats for this component set is HP, so we want as much HP because that's how we do the most damage. For our external component cores, we're rocking HP defense, HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense. Our weapon of choice is the Ancient Knight. Now you can use other weapons, Last Dagger, Devotion, ATAMs, any of that. I just like using Ancient Knight. It's really a Serena gun only. The main reason why, because of the unique ability where when you reload in air, it grants float, and when you hit a multi-hit on enemies, you get atonement. And if you don't know what float does, is it's going to reduce our drop-off range, and it's going to give us HP back when we do damage, and then atonement is going to increase our multi-hit damage. So this gun is like strictly for Serena and only, so this is why I like to use this weapon for bossing with Serena. So here are the cores and substats. We went with fire attack because this gun base damage element is fire attack, so that's why we went with this for this weapon. And here are the mods. And then for ATAMs, if you're interested, here are the cores and substats. Just keep in mind, I put these stats and cores on months ago before even Ice Maiden came out. This was for the previous Abyss boss, so don't use this as a reference, as this is going to do the best damage for ATAM. But here are the mods. You would change this element to whatever the boss is weak to you're going against. And then for our inversion reinforcement, same as before, strike point amplification and area maneuvering, because the multi-hit weapons is going to give us more damage, more chance. And then you would focus round, you would change it for whatever the boss is weak to. For our arcade tuning, this is the route I went with because we're using multi-hit weapon. I want as much, as possible. I wanted to go down this route and get all these slots so I could get all that increased multi-hit chance and damage. And then I went up with this route to get the additional skill attack against Colossus, a little bit of firearm, and then just this enhanced firearm attack. Now, if I wouldn't went this route, could I have gotten mutant cell slot? Yes, but I value this more, and then plus because the bosses are going to die in just 3 seconds or less, there's really no need for this mutant slot. If you need a reactor for Serena, check the pin comment down below. I have a YouTube short showing you where you can go farm one at. Well, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully this guide helps you decide on what kind of build you want to make for Serena and understand how to use her more. But on that note, I'll catch you on the next video.